Hello everyone, we will be seeing the syntactic, semantic and semantic constraints on core reference topic. In that we are left to do Lapin and Lee's algorithm for pronoun resolution. It was the first pronoun resolution algorithm which was brought into existence in the year 1994. So before we go into the details of it, we will have a revision of the English grammar and whatever we have studied till now, which will be helpful in understanding the algorithm in detail. Now, what is the subject? The pronoun, noun or noun phrase that does the action of the verb is called a subject. So subject is usually coming before the verb. That is, if I have a sentence, John arrived, John is the subject and arrived is the verb. If I consider another sentence, I love chocolate, I is a subject, verb is love, and the chocolate is said to be the object. So it is not necessary that it is always going to be a single word. It can be a group of words. For example, an orange cat was sitting beside me. So an orange cat is said to be the subject in this particular case. Some verbs may not be actions, but linking verbs that links to more information about the subject. For example, it is not necessary that every subject will be succeeded by a verb. Some case exceptions are there. The exceptions are caused by some type of verbs which is called a linking verb, which itself is not a verb, but which is defining the state about it. Okay, so some of the linking verbs examples are be, seem, become, etc. So here is an example. I am hungry. So there is no action word over here or a verb over here. Am is said to be the linking word and I is the subject. John seemed tired. Again, tired is some adjective which is describing John with the help of a linking verb seemed. Subjects can be long also. The man who lives upstairs died. So the man who lives upstairs is the subject. So like this, we can identify the subject within the sentence. The last case is the subjects can include two or more nouns. For example, Lucy's gray cat and John's white cat are friends. So Lucy's gray hat and John's white cat is said to be the subject of the sentence here. So remember that we have to think about the verb and where it is being applied, and that correspond to the subject. So that is how we can identify the subject in a sentence. The next is object. Object is a thing or a person that the verb is done to or who receives the verb. So it can be a noun, noun phrase, pronoun, or a longer complex object. Only a transitive verb can have an objective. Transitive means it should be transferable from one person to another. Otherwise, it will not be having any object. Okay, now we will see the example. I love chocolate. So chocolate is said to be the object here. David met Lucy yesterday. So David met whom? Lucy. So Lucy is said to be the object. I put the orange cat into the garden. So I put what? What is the orange cat? I love what? What is chocolate? So like that you can identify the object within the sentence. Now coming to objects, we have two different types of objects, direct object and indirect object. If you consider the direct object, it's a thing or person to whom or to which we do the action verb. That is, for example, I give the chocolate. So I gave something, and that something is nothing but the chocolate. So object is there. Again, David met Mary yesterday. So it is directly related to David's meeting action. That is whom David met, Mary met. Mary he met. Indirect object is the person who receives the direct object. So over here we can see two few examples. I made my friend some coffee. So I made what? Some coffee. Whom I have given some coffee, that is whom I have given some coffee, it will become to my friend. So which is the indirect object. Now again, I threw John the ball. The ball is the object. I threw what? The ball. Whom I throw the ball. So whom I threw the John So if here you consider um, um, uh, sorry, John is said to be the indirect object. Now there is a confusion. I can write in the reverse manner. I also, but if you consider the action verb, to understand easily what is a direct object, you have to just identify the objects over here. So you can say that my friend is also an object and some coffee is also an object. So if I remove my friend from here, I made some coffee, it makes some sense. So that is why it is called a direct object. Okay, now if I remove some coffee and if I write I made my friend, okay, if I write like that, I made my friend, means it is not sensible at all. So which is not sensible, that is called um, the indirect object. When coming to the second sentence also, I threw the ball, it makes sense. So ball is the direct sense. I threw John, we are not going to throw any person, so that is doesn't make any sense. That is why it is called an indirect object. So like that you can identify between the direct and indirect object. Now we will move on to the Lapin's and Lee's algorithm. So it employs a symbol weighing scheme that integrates the effects of recency and syntactical based preferences. We have already seen these terms. Recency means how recently we have used those words, and preferences we have already seen in the previous lecture, wherein we have seen the gender agreement, case agreement, and so on. Okay, so we will be considering all those preferences, that is syntax based preferences only, not semantic preferences, over here for doing the pronoun resolution. Remember what is semantic preferences? Semantic preferences means you will be using the meaning corresponding to a particular verb, which is not being used over here. But syntax means the structure of the sentence, which is being used over here. The grammatical structure related to the sentence will be used for doing the disambiguation or pronoun resolution, doing the pronoun resolution of the pronouns that is being used. There are two types of operations performed by the algorithm. The first one is the discourse model update and then pronoun resolution. So after updating the model, we will be doing the pronoun resolution. So these are the two important operations that is used by the algorithm. So when a noun phrase that evokes a new entity is encountered, a representation for it must be added to the discourse model. This again we have discussed in the first lecture of this module. That is how how you evoke a discourse model by adding the different elements to it. That is, every noun and noun phrase or pronoun is going to invoke the discourse model, and you will access it whenever you use whenever I come across a noun or noun phrase, we will be evoking it, and whenever I use some pronoun, I am going to access it. So like this model we have created, how to create it we have seen in the first lecture. So we'll be using it over here, and a degree of salience is computed for it. So we will be discussing how the degree of salience is computed over here for this particular algorithm. So the salience value is calculated as the sum of weights assigned by a set of salience factors. So we will be seeing what are the salience factors considered by Lapin and Lee's algorithm. So the salient factors and their corresponding weights. The first one is a sentence recency, which is given 100. How recently the sentence is occurring comes under here. Then we have subject emphasis. We will see in detail what it is. Existential emphasis, accusative emphasis, indirect object and oblique complement emphasis, non-adverbial emphasis, and head nod emphasis. So based on this, we will be deciding on these salient factors. We will be adding some weights to it. And when we move from one sentence to another sentence, it will change. Okay. Now, before going into these salience factors and the evaluation, we will see what it is. Okay. The first thing is a subject emphasis. That means the focus is usually on the subject and what the subject does. If we have a sentence which is focusing on the subject and his actions, then you call it as a subject emphasis, and you can assign 80 marks to it, 80 weight to it. Now coming to the existential emphasis, it asserts the existence or non-existence of something. So it relies, English relies on the constructions that is introduced by the. So the verb that is most often used is a form of be. That is, what are the different forms of be? Are, is, etc. Okay, am. So other verbs are called, may follow the existence there. So when the sentence there is there, then you have to consider the existential emphasis and you have to proper usage of there. Then like this, like the example given below, then you can assign a 70 points to it. So there is always some madness in love. Now there is followed by is. So is said to be the verbal form of a form of be. So there is always some madness in love. There is an existential emphasis, and you can add 70 points to this particular sentence. Okay, so there are many exit visas sold in this cafe. So again, there is followed by are, and you will be giving the more emphasis on this particular sentence, that is for the an addition of existential emphasis. Now coming to the next one. Next one is direct object emphasis. Now it shows the relationship of a direct object to the verb. Now we cooked our dinner. We is a subject, cooked, and dinner is our direct object. Okay, so if you have the emphasis given to a direct object, or if you have a direct object in the sentence, you can give references to the direct object, you can give 50 points to this. That is, you are referring a direct object that is there in the sentence, then you can have this point at weight attached to it. Now we have indirect object emphasis. Indirect object emphasis is again the emphasis is on the indirect object. That is, I made my friend some coffee, the same example we are seeing, who came from US. So here the emphasis is on my friend because whatever follows is regarding my indirect object, that is my friend. Okay, so in this particular case, you can add a 40 points to it. There is another option also, that is oblique complement emphasis. That is, it is a prepositional phrase which behaves like a complement. That is, example is, I Pat will wait for Kim. So if you have a prepositional phrase which will be emphasized, then that category you can give a 40 marks, 40 point weights. Now we have the non-adverbial emphasis. That is what we will see is the adverbial emphasis. And if there is no adverbial emphasis, then you can assign the weights to the particular, for this particular criteria. So it is a term used for an intensifier that is used to give an added force or greater degree of certainty to another word or a sentence, in a sentence or a sentence as a whole. So adverbs of emphasis are called emphasizers, and some example are absolutely, certainly, clearly, definitely. So here is an example. He's tapping my phone. I definitely heard it. I definitely is the adverb that is used with the heard verb, which will be used as an adverbial emphasis. So in this particular sentence, for example, for it, if we resolve it, the adverbial emphasis is there, and hence it will not be given 50 points. Otherwise, for almost all sentences will be not having this adverbial emphasis, and 50 points will get added to it. This is generally used for preventing the discourse to go to the negative weights. We can see there are negative weights also. Only for cataphora you are having negative weights. So if it shouldn't go beyond that negative weights, so that's why we are adding this particular adverbial emphasis term in the criteria. Now that's what the textbook says. Now we will move on to the last point, that is head-noun emphasis. It's a head of the noun that determines what sort of thing or person or the whole noun phrase refers to. That is, if I have the noun phrase and we are talking about that particular noun or the noun phrase, then we will say that head noun emphasis is there. That is, more importance is given to the head noun. Now, all the cakes on the table is said to be the head noun phrase, tastes nice. Now, cakes taste nice. So these are said to be the nouns that we are having, and which is the most important noun. And we are giving when we are talking about this particular noun, then you say that head noun emphasis is present. So like this, these are the parameters that can be used for arriving at the salience factors, and the weights are updated based on these factors, and the pronoun resolution is being done. So the weights that each factor assigns to an entity are cut in half each time a new sentence is processed. So every time when we finish with the sentence, the weights are cut in half so that when we are moving on to the next sentence. This is done to now if we have the pronoun usage within the sentence, that is given a higher priority than the pronoun that is followed by the another sentence. For this purpose only, it is cutting down when it is moving to the new sentence. Now, here are some examples. An Acura Integra is parked in the lot. This is subject. So, subject emphasis, it will get the points that is associated for them. Then existential predicate is nothing but the existential emphasis. There is an Acura Integra. So 70 points can be associated if we have a sentence like this. Then John parked an Acura Integra in the lot. That is called a direct object. John gave his Acura Integra a bath. Okay. So John gave, not Acura Integra, gave bath. What it gave bath is Acura Integra. So that is why Acura Integra is said to be the indirect object. Like that, you have to find, if it is an object, you find the different properties of the object and identify which weight is associated with that particular object. The weight for any referent is always positive. We try to make it positive unless and until we come across a cataphora, which removes all the which creates more problem. Otherwise, it's always positive. The head noun emphasis factor penalizes referents which are embedded in larger noun phrases. Because if I have a big noun phrase, that is an orange cat, the orange will be given a least preference and cat will be given the more preference. So that is an adjective. So like that, if you have a larger phrase and the importance of the noun is being gone in that phrase, then the penalizing is done on that particular reference. And once we have updated the discourse model with a new reference and recalculated salient values associated with them, we were ready to consider the process of resolving any pronouns that exist within a new sentence. So every time a verb is coming, word is coming into picture where resolution is required, the weights are updated. Now we will see only two salient weights for our simplicity. Okay, that is one for grammatical role that we have seen, that is parallelism. That is, if they are coming in parallel positions, then a 35 weights are added. And the second one is to disprefer cataphoric reference. We will be having a negative point of minus 175. So these points are taken after training with the algorithm, and they found out that these points are some of are very good examples. Okay, these weighing factors are decided based on some experiments that is done by Lapin and Lees. So we will move on to the pronoun resolution algorithm. Collect the potential reference, that is up to 4 sentences back. Now remove potential reference that would not agree in number or gender with the pronoun. Remove potential reference do not pass intrasential syntactic or reference constraint. Now compute the total salience value of the referent by adding applicable values to the existing salience value previously computed during the discourse model update step, and select the reference with the highest salience value. In case of tie, selects the closest referent in terms of string position. So these were the steps that was added to it. So the first 2-3 things about the constraints and all, we are not going into the details of it. Some simple things like number and gender agreement will be considered, whether it is an object or a person, that will be considered. Okay, so that will be considered in our sentence. We are not going into the detail of our complex sentences. Now here is an example. Joe saw a beautiful Acura at the dealership. He showed it to Bob. He bought it. Now these are the sentences that we are having. The first sentence is John saw a beautiful Acura at the dealership. Second sentence is showed it to Bob. The third sentence, he bought it. Now we will be doing the pronoun resolution one by one. Now, in the first sentence, it's a complete sentence. We have only 3 objects over here. That is 3 usage of nouns. That is John, Indecra, and dealership. Since all these 3 sentences are part of the first sentence, everyone is given recency 100. John is the subject, so 80 is given. And Indecra is the object, so 50 is added. There is no adverbial emphasis over here, so 50, 50, 50 is given. And head noun phrase, that is, what is a head noun over here? John. We are talking in the entire sentence about John and his object, which is Indecra, and hence we are giving 80, 80, 80 for all. So in total, we will get 310 for John, Indecra for 280, and dealership for 230. Here the computation is very direct because there is no pronoun usage in the first sentence. So when we move on to the next sentence, we will factor by 2 the values that we have computed. That is the next step. That is John 310 divided by 2, 155 is given. Indecra 280 divided by 2, 140 is given. And dealership 230 divided by 2, 115 is given. So this will be used as a reference for the second sentence pronoun resolution. So the first noun phrase in the second sentence is he, because what was the second sentence? He showed it to Bob. Okay, so when it is he showed it to Bob, first pronoun is he. Since he specifies a male gender, there is only one resolution that is corresponding to it, that is John, because if it is a male gender, Indecra cannot be associated with it, dealership cannot be associated with it, so he will be associated with John. Now, so we can stop there and take this to be the referent. So if you consider the current state, recency is 100, subject position, he is the subject, so ET, again not in an adverbial emphasis, so 50, and head noun phrase, we are talking about him, that is why 80 is added. So a total of 310 will be added to the current weight of John. So the John's weight now became 465. Now moving on to the second part of the sentence. The next pronoun noun phrase in the second sentence is the pronoun it, which is compatible with the Indecra or dealership. Now there is a problem whether it is Indecra it refers to or a dealership. So if you consider the parallelism preference, both it and a beautiful Acura Indecra are in object position with their respective sentences. So the weight 35 will be added to the option that is beautiful Acura Indecra. Now the Indecra will be having the weight of 140 plus 35 and dealership is having a weight of 115. So Indecra is taken to be the referent. So the discourse model is updated by adding 100 recency. Direct object integra is there. So 50 for not in adverbial emphasis, and 80 for head noun phrase because it is describing the object of the sentence. So it adds up to 280. So the current weight of integra is added by 280. So it becomes 420. That is thus 140 plus 280 adds to 420, and it is shown in the integra part. Now the final noun phrase in the second sentence is Bob. That is, he showed it to Bob. So Bob is a new noun that is we are coming across, and we have to add it to the discourse model because it evokes the discourse model. So even because it is an indirect object, 50 for non-adverbial emphasis and 80 for the head noun phrase because it is again talking about John's friend that is related to John. So in total of 270 will be given to Bob, and this will get added to the discourse model. Now we have 4 elements in the discourse model. Now we will move on to the third sentence. He bought it. Now, if you consider again, we are coming to he. He specifies male gender. Over here, we are having 2 male genders now, that is John and Bob. Now, seeing the table only, we will come to know that John is having more preference than Bob because already 232.5 is there. And because of parallelism, 35 will get added to it. And hence, John is having more weightage than Bob. So it will be, John will be considered as a referent over here. So for the updation of weight, again, we will have recency 800 because it is in subject position 80. Non-adverbial adverbial emphasis 50 and head noun phrase 80, which adds up to 310 will get added to it. So the current weight of John now became 542.5. Now coming to the next noun phrase, that is he bought it. So it is again, we have 2 things, integra and the dealership. So if you see the parallelism, here, if you consider it and the beautiful integra will be in the object position. So 35 will get added to the current weight. So that is 210 plus 35, it will become 245. And 57.5 of that 245 is having the weightage. So integra is taken as a referent. Again, if you consider for updation, you will be considering recency 100. Object we are talking about, so 50, and non-adversible adversarial emphasis 50 and 80 for the head noun phrase, which adds up to 280, will be added to the current weight of the integra. So that will become 210. Thus 210 will get added to 280 to generate a 490 score for integra. So the new updated weight is 490. Thank you.